Welcome back to Rewriting Reality. I am Shiraz, your reality interventionist. And I've just come back from a crazy week in Boise, Idaho. I was learning about speaking on stage, honing my craft on speaking, of which, of course, I'm now having problems speaking right after that because I'm so frazzled. But it ended up with going to a workshop on fire eating, where I learned to do that thing with the fire eating and put it into my mouth and put out the fire in my mouth. And then they set me on fire. We had the stuff over my head, over my shoulders and my hands, and we lit it all up and I was on fire. If you are on my Facebook page, go check it out. There are videos and pictures of me on fire. And speaking of being on fire, I'm looking forward to having an episode that is on fire today. My guest is Sylvain Haché. I hope I'm pronouncing the last name right. I've never actually asked you how to pronounce your last name. And we are going to have some fun. If you have never attended Rewriting Reality, what we do in this podcast is a little bit different. Well, it's not actually a podcast, it's a show. But I have a guest on, we learn about the guest, and then I get to get coached by my guests. And then I get to coach my guests. And then if there's time left, we take questions and possibly coach other people in the audience. So it's always a fun time. The thing I love about this show is I get to learn from experts every single month. And for those of you who have been saying, well, why can't you have a show every week? I try to integrate everything I learn because it's such good content I get from my guests. And if I were to do it every week, I'd go insane. It's just too much. So without further ado, let's bring on today's guest, Sylvain Sly Haché. How you doing?
Doing great, but I'm not physically on fire, man. That's next level right there. Physically on fire. Good God. Man.
It was a lot of fun. Oh my God. Going into it, the thing that actually scared me the most was actually putting the fire in my mouth. And but once it's in there, it's not hot. What actually was hot was the end of the metal rod, which had been getting heated up by the flame, but the flame itself was hot. It wasn't hot at all.
Get out of here. Oh man. Like they talk about digestive fires, like the fire of digestion. It's just wow. Insane.
It was amazing. I had so much fun. So yeah, totally do it again. And actually, this is a good lesson for people out there as well. The girl that did it, Kat Cochet, there was about 20 of us learning to do this and coming up in little groups and sometimes one-on-one with her. And when we accomplished that, we were excited. We were like, people were jumping up and down, people were screaming, and Kat was excited for every single one of us. Like, you could see this is something she loves to do. This is her joy. And we were paying her to be in her joy. Like, that's how you do your business.
When I heard you say Boise, Idaho, what came to mind for me was I thought you were like ClickFunnels or something with Russell Brunson. That's the name I associated with.
Okay.
So was there any event going on at the same time? Was there separate, different things?
Well, the fire event was a completely separate event. I was at, do you know Jay Souter? He does the Black Belt speaking program.
I think I saw the name today from a Kimberly Crow email, though.
Yes, he's actually doing.
But I don't know him yet. But it went on my radar today.
Yeah, so I'm in his Black Belt speaker program. It is an amazing program. It really teaches you how to craft your speech, all the psychology in the speech, the reason why you have to do each step in the right order. Because if you miss a step, then you've lost part of the audience. And most people don't do the steps in the right order, and then they wonder why they don't get the sales at the end. Right. And the trainings are amazing because it's about the talking, but it's also about the psychology and it's about the personal growth. So we've had some amazing guest speakers that he brings in to teach us. This time round, we had, I should know his name right, Stephen Memel, who coaches A-list celebrities like Drew Barrymore on how to speak. And we had him teaching us how to speak.
Two M's, like M-E-M-M-E-L?
M-E-M-E-L.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stephen Memel, and then we have Jace
Souter, S-O-U-D-E-R. And Jace is J-A-S-E.
Yeah. Glorious. It says here an unsharpened pen or pencil is sharper than the sharpest of memories.
Ooh.
So
Okay. Yes.
always take
I
note of
like
these.
that.
Yeah,
All
good
right.
lord.
Good. Okay. I've been telling you about what's happening with me. Introduce yourself. Tell the audience about
Oh
you.
man, thank you so much. I mean, the name was glorious in the beginning. It's my name is Sylvain Haché. It's French, but there's a little thing on top of the E that English keyboards can't even type. You have to go in the computer, switch to them, think to French. You can't even type this in English. So it's just Sly. It's easier. Just all my friends call me Sly.
Okay.
And to my detriment, in French, Sly is kind of a title of coolness that you almost have to earn in French.
Oh,
Like not every Sylvain gets to be called Sly. Like Sylvester Stallone is called Sly, for example.
yes.
But I turned out later that in English, Sly has a negative connotation to it sometimes, like foxy or like lying or manipulative. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But it's been like that so far. As every one of my social media handles has Sly in it now, so it's too late to go back.
Yeah.
So that's the name. Today, I would like to do. I was thinking about what we could do today. I mean, I'm on a show called Rewriting Reality. Now, there's a guy that's called, I forget his name. He sold 3 businesses for more than $100 million in less than 10 years. He never worked more than 5 hours a day, and he never had a team.
Wow.
So first time I heard about this guy, the guy told me that. So my first thought was, well, he must have worked like a maniac. He said, no, never worked more than 5 hours a day. And I went on his website, and his website, he said that in the old days, people never worked 8, 9, 12, 15-hour days like we do today.
Mhm.
The most that they would work was to be maybe 4 to 5 hours. And their values were like some stuff like family and God and, health. To just work small amounts of hours. Then I was thinking to myself, well, he must have have a huge team to pull this off.
Mhm.
Never had one employee. Only works with contractors all the time.
Okay.
So then he said, okay, so in 3 years, he sold his business for $100 million. Okay. Then it must have been a fluke. So he did it a second time. It could have been twice. No, he did it 3 times in a row. And what he says after this, he said, I was thinking too small. Because here's what he says.
Wait.
I was thinking
What?
too small. He said, see, before he had the name for the damn company, before he had a plan, he decided, I'm going to sell that thing $100 million 3 years from now.
Okay.
So from that, he created a name. From that, he went into, go into doing the thing. So, and he said, I should have thought $1 billion. It's just because there's no difference.
Yeah.
He says, as far as the universe is concerned and the infinite resources, like 100 million doesn't even make a dent. It's like, I was thinking too small. So I can't help you with that, Shiraz. I can't have you sell 3 businesses in less than 10 years for $100 million a pop. But we can work on anything you like. We can, if we keep it in the realms of marketing, mindset, public speaking, emotional kind of stuff, we can do that. Or music if you like.
Okay.
So these would be the 4 kind of categories: mindset, marketing, music, and public speaking. These are the areas where we can be comfortable with.
Okay. I would love to go with marketing, but before we go to marketing, you've told us this great story about this other person. I want to hear about you.
Oh, me.
Who are
Man,
you?
it's an easy story. Small town kid, a full-time stutterer, can't even speak for the life of him. Like people like speak like like that. That was my speaking voice in French, in another language.
Okay.
And I remember that one of my earliest memories was an earthquake, but that's not the story. I would take a chair. Yeah, I would take a chair, and I would climb on the chair like this to go and look on top of the refrigerator.
Okay.
Because on the refrigerator, there was a small radio with a grill cloth. And I would look inside the grill cloth to see the musicians, because I would hear music. And to me, it's obvious that if you hear music, there's musicians playing. I knew that. So I would climb on the thing and try to look in through the grill cloth to see the mini musicians. And my dream, I wanted to play with these guys.
Okay.
So it's what I did. I started playing drums, and I went to play guitar, then I went on to vocals, and I turned into an international touring musician with songs on the radio, which like won awards and stuff. That's what I do.
Nice. I love
And I
the way
used to
you're
teach.
just so casual. International won awards. It's just like throwaway for you. This is normal.
Well, I mean, it kind of is. I mean, unless like blues revelation of the year, like you win an award. Like like there's an album that comes out.
Mhm.
You do a few shows and you tour, then you won an award or two, just the blues revelation of the year, and then so what? It's like it's just nothing. Unless you're like a big number one Billboard artist, unless you're number one,
Mhm.
it's like, yes. Number 3, 7, 13, 27, 80 doesn't do much. Right? So we do this and touring internationally with a bunch of bands and stuff. And I had a focus, I was specialized in what I wanted to do was a studio musician or a TV musician. So which means you get to play a bunch of styles. And my parents didn't want to pay for music college, so they paid marketing in college. So what I did in the beginning of the semester, I would go in and buy the marketing books, and I bought the music books, and I did both study at the same time. So one by myself and one in class. Anyway, so I fast forward a few years, and I went from stuttering to being interviewed on TV and live radio
Oh,
with professionals just shooting the shit like this on live TV and radio in multiple languages in multiple countries.
okay.
So on the side, I've also been coaching since the age of 16. I mean, my first job, I was a competitive tennis player. And I got a thing called a tennis elbow where it really hurts. So I went to the doctor and says, you won't be able to play anymore. I discovered tricks from India and yogic tricks and ancient Chinese medicine tricks where I went and healed my elbow. By the way, I always work with, the older I go into the spiritual and mindset stuff, the better it is for me. Currently reading a book that's 2,500 to 2,800 years old, and it speaks about the wisdom of the ancients. So 2,800 years ago, there was a book categorizing what the ancients at that time knew already, and it's cutting edge consciousness stuff that the researchers of today are just working on. And it was written like a long, so the older you go, the better it is in that field for me. So anyway, I started coaching at 16. Then I taught tennis, then I taught music, then I taught tantra. I taught white consciousness tantra, not red tantra. Not everybody get naked and have an orgy tantra. I was teaching the white internal consciousness stuff, surrender to God and all that. So doing that for a while. Then eventually, then I had a business. We were promoting all the self-help gurus and the mindset people and all the chakra persons and the crystal ball ladies and all that in Montreal. And it was called changeonslequebec.com, which translates to change the province. If you live where are you located?
Ontario.
So changeontario.com. So it's pretty like changeonslequebec.com.
Okay.
And we would promote all these people. And then we were small. Then the biggest act we had, we promoted Deepak Chopra. When Deepak Chopra came to Montreal, we got the contract from a company from Ontario called the Learning Annex.
Know it, yes.
That was looking for someone in Montreal. So they Googled who was the company. We got the contract. We promoted him. And I was on stage, and I was the one presenting Deepak on stage. And we got him the radio interviews, and we did the press and all that. So, and that was my first panic on stage after the years that I was stuttering, by the way, the Deepak night. Anyway, and then fast forward a few years, I go, I play in China, I play in Macau, I play in Russia, I come back, I do a tour of the province a few times, do an album. Then I teach musicians how to not suck on stage. So stage presence for musicians. Because, I mean, I used to teach in music school, and it was easy for most people to see who was one of my students or the other was. So picture this, 250 kids from 7 to 77, learning a song, then going to a recital at the end of the year. So there's a song. So the drummer there learned the song during his drum class. The bass player, same thing. And they all come together and they play the song that they practiced in front of a live audience. So I would have, 20, 40 students, and everybody, the teacher also has many students. So on the stage at any given time, there's one of my students and 6 others. So I don't know if this is an audio show or a video show, but for those on video, see if you can spot the difference between regular students and my students. So the regular student comes in, kind of looks like this. So they would walk in. And then their internal dialogue is like, well, I hope they like me. I hope I don't make a mistake. Oh my God, oh my God. Then they kind of look at their feet and they just play the damn thing.
Yeah.
Now it's subtle. See if you can spot it. My students would come in like with shades, rock star clothing, walking around like this. All right? I was jumping around with an internal dialogue of when I'm done with these people, there'll be no paint left on the walls and the janitor will have to mop their faces off the floor.
Nice.
So that was the slight difference. So I used to teach people how to not suck on stage. But then someone said to me, man, that stuff you're doing freeing people internally, because when you're a stutterer, you're so caved in inside, it's like you're below shy. Yeah. Shy is like the dream. Shy is like what you want to get to. Yeah. So when you're a full-time stutterer, you're physically caved in. You can't, like the words won't even, good Lord, they won't come out. I just knocked my mouse out of it. You see, Shiraz, nobody stutters in their mind. Like really.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It's like you're a prisoner of yourself. So anyway, I would free people. So I'd take these people that I used to, these techniques I used to free myself and applied them to not sucking on stage. But then someone said, what's wrong with you, idiot? Teach that to business people.
Okay.
What's wrong with you? They need that too. And then one of the person that took my it was a thing in French called vaincre la peur de jouer en public en 6 semaines, which means get rid of stage fright in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Was the thing. So, and one of them said, man, you need to work with nurses, you need to work with doctors, you need to work with pompiers, how do you call the pompiers? Firemen and stuff. Everybody who's got traumas, because this is trauma release techniques, deep trauma release techniques. So anyway, so my plan was, let me teach, and I've also been writing direct response email marketing campaigns since 2005. And I studied in marketing. So you have a guy who has been coaching since the age of 16, writing copywriting, direct response copywriting since 2005, studied in marketing, and happens to have international touring experience, has been on TV and radio and stuff, and has been selling stuff online, like webinars and presentations. So my secret plan was, I'm going to teach musicians how to not suck on stage in French. Then I'm going to leverage these testimonials. I'm going to teach business people how to not suck on stage in French, also known as public speaking training. You know, how to command the room and own the stage.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to take that, the team and testimonials and credibility. Then I'm going to go and teach English musicians how to not suck on stage. And in 5 years from now, which was my plan, I'm going to teach English people how to not suck on stage, otherwise known as public speaking training for business people. But then there was a thing on the news here called COVID. I don't know if you guys had that or not.
I heard about it.
Yeah, there was a thing. It canceled everything. It just canceled all my shows. It canceled the whole thing. So I just took the 5-year plan and crunched it to 6 months. And I did the public speaking thing in English.
Yeah.
4 years and a half sooner than I would have liked to.
Wow.
It's been a hell of a ride. It's been great now. Got the whole system down. It's called nextlevelpublicspeaking.com, and it rocks, in my opinion. So.
Okay. The thing is, I love how you phrased it, because a lot of people say they want to rock it out on stage, but internally it's just, I don't want to suck on stage. When you said I teach them how to not suck, I'm like, yes, that's where we want to go.
Exactly. It's because, see, the main thing with confidence is not something you add. It's you remove what makes, see, in my system, first off, you're not even allowed to start thinking about what you will say before you're confident. Okay. People think, if I know what to say, and I know how to say it, and I practice it long enough, which is known as public humiliation, Then I will be good. Then I will get good. Then I will gain confidence in that one speech I learned by heart.
Mm-hmm.
And if they only ask me the right questions that I know the answers to, then I'll be confident. So confident is like the end of the process.
Yeah.
Man, if you've ever been on stage or on TV or on radio or on camera, or if you've ever done a real presentation with, people in the audience, you know it never goes as planned.
No.
It always breaks. There's always someone, you need to do longer, you need to do shorter. You can't rely on memory. People, there's jokes, there's thing going around, there's attractive people in the audience, ugly people in the audience, like you get thrown off.
Oh, yeah.
You need to be thinking on your feet. So we put confidence first, but not confidence where you puff up your chest or power pose or try to breathe or have some sort of a hack or technique. Actual baseline confidence that comes from removing the internal, emotional, physical, and spiritual dents that prevent you from exhibiting your natural confidence. Once you have that, which is like a 3-week process, then you move on to what do you actually say. And then and only then do you move on to how do you say what you were going to say based on that confidence. So it goes confidence first, then charisma, which is a way of messaging,
Yep.
and then presence.
Okay. So I might change what I want you to work on with me just based on what we're talking about now. So
That's okay.
and it's interesting because at the speaker retreat, when I was working with Stephen, one of the things that came up was he was telling me speak louder, and I normally speak loud. So it was confusing me that he was telling me to speak louder because I speak loud. But what he pointed out to me was you have a lack of confidence. And so that confidence is causing you to speak quieter, but you're not picking it up consciously. So you're getting confused when people are telling you to speak louder because you're still being you and you're boisterous and you've got your style, but you're making your voice quieter in case you make a mistake. Hopefully no one will hear it. But because you're making yourself quieter, people aren't going to notice the good stuff that's coming out of your mouth too, right? And I didn't know this was going on until he pointed it out.
Man, that's funny you say that because I had a client that I just finished a call before this, and yeah, I have it here. Since the age of 7,
Yep.
she was always afraid of making mistakes. So I guided her through a simple process because she's going through the program, so she knows. Like she accessed a state, which I know that you can. You don't need my guidance. You can access states just like that, right? You can just think about a state and get. So I access a state. Then I had her encompass the whole phenomenon with her consciousness or awareness. So, for example, if you think about this fear of making a mistake stuff and half-assing it, so that kind of negotiating with yourself unconsciously. If you were to think about that with eyes closed in one of your connected states, where would you feel that in space?
It's actually all around the outside of my head here.
There you go. So now I want you to circle that fully. So circle the whole phenomenon fully.
Yep.
Wherever it is, encompass that fully in and of itself.
Oh, wow.
And
Giving me a headache, actually.
So it's always there. You're not bringing it. And you know that if you were just sit there and keep on being aware of it, your awareness would dissolve it. So we won't cheat, but that's what would happen if you would just sit there and do that. So before it dissolves,
Yep.
I would like to, while you keep on focusing on the thing, ask yourself, so this has been there, last week and probably the week before, what is that phenomenon an effect of? What maintains that in place? What creates that? What keeps it alive?
What's coming up is need to be safe and the need to do it right.
Yeah. So this thing that you call need to be safe and need to do it right.
Yeah.
Scan your whole body, energetics, like your chakras and fields and stuff. So just scan the whole thing in a peripheral vision style internally, 360 degrees. And tell me, where is that located?
It's going to the heart.
Okay. and trace back on your timeline the first time that you became aware of that this became a thing. You just go back until it's not a thing, and then go forward and just find it.
When I was when I was really young, saying the wrong thing in class and having everyone react badly, like 4, 5, 6 years old, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Cool. So stay in that moment. Now
Yep.
have your awareness flood the whole room. So while this was going on, you were in at your desk. See the whole room, back to front, left to right.
Oh, wait. The
Oh,
room in the class at that time, or this
yeah,
room here?
the room at
Okay,
that time. Yeah,
got it. Okay.
the whole room. So
Yep.
at that time, the Earth was circling the sun. So have your awareness be, cognizant of that as well.
Okay.
The sun was going on in the center of the galaxy,
Yep.
and God, the creator of the universe or the source, was also, there. So whatever your beliefs about whatever the baseline reality of the universe is, that was there at that moment. So
Okay.
let the baseline power of the underlying strata and structure of the universe permeate that moment.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just because it was, you just weren't aware of it at that time. So just retroactively let the power of God or the universe or source.
Oh, and just so you know, when stuff shifts for me, I yawn a lot. So just
That's great.
okay.
Take care. Yeah. She's currently probably napping from what that we just did. So yawn, all you can yawn. It's good. So be aware that you are sitting in that. Of course, the moment is changing. Of course, the memory is changing. But you do your best to keep your awareness on it. You're not fighting it. You're not trying to visualize it. You just maintain your awareness that while the power of the source reveals itself between every molecule and every iota of consciousness in that space. You just observe it. Now, of course, the feeling changed in the heart. The donut thing went away, but there's a little something else. So just make sure you feel your feet in that memory, in the desk, and let the power of the source permeate what you call the inside of you at that time, where you had a thought. When they laugh at me and all that, let that permeate inside. So that the imaginary separation between what you call you and what you call the universe becomes what it was, imaginary. Take a few breaths, let it yawn. Glorious. Leave it there for a while. Just let me know when it's fully processed. It's about to.
Yep.
All right. So now stay there for a moment. Oh, that was a
Ooh,
nice one. That was a deep one.
ooh,
That was a
thank
great yawn. Yeah, that was a great one. Great yawn. Now, just as that mini you at that time, just finish that day, go to bed, and wake up the next day to realize, that feeling is not there anymore. And then live a few weeks, then live a few months and a few years, and realize, just scan your, just kind of look down at you. Oh, that feeling is not there. Good Lord. It's not there at my graduation. It's not there at this. Just, yeah, just grow up into your full self, your full size Shiraz. Realizing that, so you can even step back and look at kind of your timeline and go, it's not there anymore. And just keep on doing this until you get to right here, right now, in this room. Where the power of God and the source still is, by the way. And let me know when you're fully in your body right here, right now. You're pretty good at this, so it won't take long.
Yep.
And now, just keep going into all your future plans where you thought you just kind of presupposed that that thing was going to be like that.
Oh, okay.
Subconsciously. So just keep going in the future where and realize, oh shit, it's not there. Just keep going. You know, 1 million a year, 1 million per quarter, 1 million a month, 1 million a week, and you realize, oh shit, it's been a while, it's not been there.
Yeah,
And
true.
from that end place, from wherever you are in your future timeline, just turn around and silently communicate the wisdom of your heart at that moment to you now. Having achieved everything you wanted to achieve with grace. It's an internal silent communication between you and your heart. Let that sink in. When you feel that all that yeah, feel that all that timeless wisdom is part of you because you just sent it to yourself. So it was there all along anyway. When you feel it's embedded in your habit fields, your personality fields, your perceptual fields, and the way you plan and think. You just kind of put the change that you just lived in your hands in front of you and let your subconscious mind generate like a hologram of the full changes on all levels. And at the speed that your nervous system actually integrates the changes, you don't force it. At the speed that actually the processing power of your nervous system integrates these changes, you'll feel that your hands will naturally pull towards your chest. And it's a subconscious process. You let your hand process. You let your hands indicate the speed at which you process the information. To cement those changes in a way that they can evolve naturally, where you discover more and more of your potential. Synchronistically, with the people you meet, the thoughts you have, people you don't meet, and thoughts you don't have. Now that change is done. And you let your hands touch your chest and integrate at your natural pace.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I want to stretch around, move a little bit, maybe drink a bit of water, and you're golden.
Ooh, that feels good.
Nice.
I like
So, so why I say funny thing you ask? Because um, at 1 o'clock I was with someone and she just said that in French. J'ai peur de me tromper. She's running through a process where I have people guide them through a thing. I say that there's a formula for charisma. It's baseline confidence multiplied by the degree of identification that you have with a bigger than yourself idea. And she was having a hard. There's a process that I run people through. And she was saying, I have a hard time running through the process parce que j'ai peur de me tromper. I'm afraid of making a mistake. So I ran her through that process. And then I come in and I said, "Oh, I gotta go. I meet with Shiraz." Shiraz says, "Well, there's this thing about I'm afraid of making a mistake." So I
Yeah.
said, "Oh, let's do that again." I just did it like 30 minutes ago.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Nice. I love how one thing shows up and starts showing up over and over. So
that's twice in a day, and I haven't heard that like never. Not that I recall.
okay.
Yeah,
Cool. Thank you.
you're welcome.
That feels really good. Okay. I can just sort of still feel it settling in there.
Yeah, take your time to settle in, and if ever you feel like needing a boost of confidence, just look at that picture there on the there's a sizzle reel in the beginning. There's a picture
Yeah.
of you on the side like this with a shoot like this,
Oh yes, yes.
looking pretty good. Every girl's crazy about a sharp dressed man. You look at that picture, you got it right there.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a local photographer, Veronica, and he did
Looking good, yeah.
such amazing pictures. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. And now we've come to the part in the show where it's your turn. So, have you ever seen me work before?
There was one thing I was like, like this what moment. You told me you spoke to a girl who wanted more people registered for one of her events.
Yeah.
Last call, and I thought you said 800 more people, but it was like 8,000 more in like a day or something.
Yeah. So she usually got 3,000 people out to the event. And she called me 2 days before the event and she said, there's only 1,500 people registered. We usually have all 3,000 registered by now. So what's going on? And it turned out she'd done this event for years, I think like 8 years already, but she'd never hosted it. She was the one running it in the background. And so what was coming up is, what if I screw up as the host? What if I embarrass myself? What if I insult one of the guests? What if I don't know what the answer is? All that was percolating inside her. And it was actually causing people not to register.
Good
So
Lord.
we went through the process. We got her out of that space. And within 2 days, they went from 1,500 to 8,000. They set a record for attendance.
That's just insane.
And then she came back to me when they redid the event. I think it was like 6 months later. And she goes, I want to go for 20,000. And I'm like, 20,000? You've never done 8. And she goes, but I want to get this to the next level. We did another process and she didn't get 20,000. She got 14,000. But she called it a win. So
Yeah. So I don't know some of that. I don't know how to ask, but whatever that is,
okay.
good
So
Lord.
what the process is we have a discussion about that thing you want to ask for. It's usually from the negative side. I'm not getting this and I'd like to get this, because we look for where we're stuck. When I talk to you, I can tell when your conscious beliefs match your unconscious beliefs. So you could say, I want more people showing up at my events. And I might say, nope, you don't. That's not coming up as true. Right? So then once we know it's not true, we dig down to find out what the belief or story is that's making it not true. The way I look at it is, a belief is just something that is, like the sky is blue.
Yeah.
Whereas a story is something that happens. People don't listen to me. I never make the money I want. This story of my life, this always happens to me. Those are all stories. So if it's a belief, once we get to it, I'll say, are you willing to destroy that belief? If it's a story, I'm going to ask, are you willing to step out of that story? Because it's just a story. You don't have to be in it.
Yeah.
if you say yes and you mean it, and again, I'll know if you mean it because I can tell when your conscious beliefs match your
Yeah,
unconscious
yeah.
beliefs, then it's going to shift. We're actually rewiring your neurons in that moment.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Now, when it shifts, like you've been seeing, I yawn, but I also tend to cough. So I'll be yawning and coughing for the last little part of the show.
I've done a lot of Kundalini work, so I shake and stuff. Like I
Okay.
start to shake, so that can happen as well. I don't know.
Okay. So I'll be yawning and coughing. He'll be shaking. This is what we're going to end the show with here. And yeah, so that's how it's going to work. If you hear me say ow, it's because whatever I'm starting to talk to you about, your internal defense mechanisms are going up, say, nope, I don't want that belief changed. I need that to be me. And those are usually the ones that are keeping you the most stuck in place. So we want to really try to move those out. But it's almost like you start throwing energetic daggers at me or something like that. It doesn't really hurt, but it gives me an idea of the intensity of which you're trying to hold on to that belief. Okay.
All right.
All right. So you all set?
Yeah,
Okay. What's the change we want?
that's the thing. I'd go for something that I'm not even aware of. This unconscious thing that I don't even know. We could work on energy level, or we like during the day,
Yep.
because I'm still an active musician, so I need to perform 8 o'clock at night, like on.
Yep.
And I'm running a business, so I need to. I'm work at 6 a.m. and I need to perform at 6 a.m. as well. So we can work on 10xing energy levels, or we can work on 10xing money, or we can work on 10xing energy or money, pretty much.
Okay. So let's start off. Do you want to 10x your energy?
I want to, but then there's a no kind of a fear of if I 10x my energy, I'll burn
Yep.
both ends of the candle quicker.
Okay. Yeah, and that's as soon as I asked the question, I
Yeah,
could
that's why.
feel
That's
your
why
whole
I
body.
just felt like I scanned it. Yeah, I scanned it, and I felt that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but here's what's going on is the belief that's in there is if I have the energy, I have to use it, but you don't.
Hmm.
Right. So what if you have the energy and you don't use it? I'm going to use it now, but I don't have to. I'm done for the day. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to relax. I'm just going to keep that energy there.
Yeah. What I was thinking. Yeah, energy is wrong. I was thinking 10xing output. That's what I
Yep.
mean. Yes. Yeah. That's what I meant. Okay. That's what. Okay. So I don't want to text. Don't want to 10x my output, then I'll burn out. But if I 10x energy, that's good. Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
So let's just go with that. Are you willing to step out of the story that if you have the energy, you have to use it?
Yes and no.
Okay. Why
Yeah.
no?
Something about helping as much as possible, or something kind of like that.
Yep. Okay, that's coming up true. Who taught you that you have to help as much as possible?
Good Lord. I hear too. It's a mixture of Jesus and my mom and dad trying to, being a good kid and helping and stuff.
Okay. So those are just stories that your mom and dad took in what they learned and they tried to teach it to you so you could be a good person.
Yeah.
But they made it a command, a necessity, so that you're not in choice with it.
Hmm.
Right. So when you realize, like the story I can feel running is that if you're not always helping people, you're not a good person. If you can help and you don't, you're not a good person.
Oh no, that's the worst kind.
Okay. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's okay. So here's the thing.
yeah.
If you can help and you don't, that doesn't make you a bad person because there's different situations. Sometimes the person you're helping is just playing the victim. So all you're doing is putting your energy towards a victim that's just going to stay a victim, and there's no point to that. The other thing is if you've got the energy, but you need that energy to help a lot more people, but you keep using it up because whenever someone asks, you give it. Then when it comes time to helping a lot more people, you can't
You
because you've
drained.
already used up the energy.
Yeah.
So are you willing to step out of the story?
Fucking right.
I don't have to say it. Okay, that's shifting. I want to say it out loud for some of the people that are watching and watching later so that they can get it. Are you willing to step out of the story that if you can help someone and you don't, it means you're a bad person?
Yes.
What's really cool is working with energy now. I've noticed that on the shows, sometimes when I'm clearing for the guest, I can feel the energy shift for someone that watches the replay later because energy doesn't care about time and space. Right. So,
Yeah.
okay. So, and here's the thing with what Jesus said, Jesus taught about being coming from this place of service where that's just your intention. I'm going to help the people I can. He never once says you have to keep helping all the time. Like that's just an interpretation that people put out there. And so if you let that go and just say, well, my general intention is to be of service. And here's the thing, Jesus showed that you just showing up and being you and being authentic without doing a single thing can change the lives around you. How much energy does it cost you to just be you in a room?
Yeah.
All right. So, are you willing to step out of the story you created that Jesus said you have to be helping everyone all the time?
Yeah.
It's funny. I just read the New Testament in September, and amazing read. I'd never read the Bible before, and it was just there was just so much to it. But then I was like, when I'm reading it, I'm like, wow, I'm listening to a lot of Christians talk about what Jesus did, and it's not in here. Right? Like the stuff
Yeah.
that's in here is amazing, but what they're telling me is different. Right? So yeah, because there's all that, you have to be, people say you have to be humble, you have to give the money away. There's all this stuff in there. And there's never once where Jesus talks about being humble. He talks about being authentic, about being powerful and confident in who you are, about being in touch with God. But I mean, he's walking around saying things like, I am the way. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so it's amazing that what just came up when I'm reading it, but I loved it. Yeah, I'm going to read that again. That was a great book. Okay, so now, whew, there it goes, all shifting. So now, given that, are you willing to? Whew, okay, are you willing to step out of the story that? Oh yeah, it's coming up in a different way. Are you willing to step out of the story that you have to limit yourself so you don't burn out?
Oh yeah. Because that's just insane.
Yeah.
I know it. It's just yeah, that's insane.
And there's one thing I picked up over the years, and it's really cool, and because most people don't see this, is that there are activities, the activities of joy, that doing them gives us energy. But we're taught that doing things always drains our energy.
Mm.
And when you realize, well, if I keep doing this, I'm just going to get more energy, so I don't need to rest because it's actually empowering me, then you don't worry about burning out. But at the same time, you're in that place of choice now, in that, oh, you know what? I can take a break. I can just relax. I'm full of energy, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to lie by the pool and then just have a nice day today. And then tomorrow I'll just get back to it. Because when you're contributing at such a higher level when you're in that state. And you're also contributing just by being without doing when you're in that state. Right.
I just yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've had situations, because I know you, where people are just happy that you're in the room, that you're just a contribution by being in the room. So there's no energy involved there. That's just you being you.
Mm. I just heard something
Hmm.
about if I take a break, I'll die, or if I take a break, I'll I'll miss something.
Okay.
Never it was never conscious
Okay. Who
before.
taught you that? Where did you find that story?
One time before leaving for Asia on a tour, I had a buffer about 2 months where I was homeless because I was supposed to leave on a certain date for the contract, and my apartment was up, and I had no place to live because the buy whatever the contract was over. So I
Yeah.
gave him the keys. I had to live different places for that time, and it was kind of a subconscious thought of if I always work. I was my only source of income was playing music at the time, and if I don't know if you ever tried to make a living with this thing, it's pretty hard.
I have not.
It's possible, but good lord. So it was kind of a if I never take a break and I only work all the time, I'll be okay. And it kind of stuck. Just kept on running. Like even though the money's coming in now, that
Yep.
thing's just kind of rolling in the background.
Okay. So
I'll
are
close
you,
that window.
yep, are you willing to step out of that story that you created that if you stop working, you will lose everything and you may die?
Well, I'll close that. Control Alt Delete. Close that window retroactively. Fuck. Good lord.
One thing, some of my friends and I have played with is where we're in this place of doing and contributing, and it's improving our businesses. And then we just step back and we just get into this place of being. And somehow that also contributes to the business. It goes against what we're taught on how to make money. But that is that spiritual space where you're just in touch. You've broken the veil between you and God, and everything just flows in. And I find if you combine those spaces, if you do the doing for a little while, and the doing has to be something you love and you're enjoying it, then as soon as you're done an event or whatever, you just take some time and just go to the being place. That's where everything really gets magical.
Yeah, now we can do this because I couldn't before because there was this unconscious thing in the background going, if you stop, you'll die.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. That's glorious.
How do you feel?
Amazing.
Cool. All right.
Thanks, man.
Well, thank you. This was an amazing session. So
Yeah.
we both got some stuff out of the way.
Good lord. And then I got notes here. So, it comes down to I can take breaks.
Yeah.
It even says here, I need breaks. So breaks are a part of like a wave. You gather and you crunch again. The wave has power to crash. If it just keeps on crashing, there's no power behind it.
Yes.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So you have seen how powerful Sylvain is in what he does. Regular audience knows what I do. And I love contributing to my guests because I love seeing the changes just come out. And I love to reciprocate everything that I get from my guests, and that was a major break. And it's so funny because for me, I know there's no coincidences. That belief had to show up on the weekend so that I could see you today, so we could break through it.
Plus, I had to see a client at 1:00 that said the same thing, so I go, let's try this one.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I mean, the last time I counted, I had 112 different techniques that I use.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Okay.
Like that, like it's called the transformational coaching vault. Like it's like a Notion file.
Yep.
And I just scroll. I go, okay, let's try this one today. Like 112. So had I not spoken to that client, I would probably never have even touched that thing about going back to the thing where you go to the past and go to the future.
Yep.
I would do something probably totally different.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, a lot of synchronicities they're built in to get there.
Yep. Yeah, it always works out how it's supposed to.
Wow.
Okay, so we are coming to the end of the show. In the show notes, if you are watching the replay, how to contact Sylvain is in the show notes. But for the people that are just watching or just want to hear it from him live, how do we get in touch with you?
you go to nextlevelpublicspeaking.com. Now, as you can tell, the public speaking thing is one of the things that I do.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's the first step in the system, because if you can't get on stage or can't get on video or can't speak to people in meetings to get them to do what you want them to gracefully without pushback, nothing else will save you. The offer won't save you. If you can't get out there and sell properly, it won't save you. So nextlevelpublicspeaking.com is the first step in the system, which has a few more next level things backed up after that. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So that's how you get in touch. I encourage you to get in touch, have a conversation with this guy. I know him. I know how good he is. I've just felt how good he is. You guys had the demo. And I don't think I've ever yawned that much on my own show. Okay.
That's beautiful.
So you know.
Plus, I mean, the first time I met you, for people who don't know, I was on a summit with Kimberly Crow, and I was interviewing Shiraz on the summit, and I was reading the comments. The comments were like, Shiraz is the man, this guy's a legend, Shiraz is the man, that guy's for real. So I was like, okay, let me see what that is about. So I interviewed you on my show. That's why we got, and like, the real deal. It's impressive. I like the way, the distinction between, is this a story or a belief for you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if it's a story, you physically, emotionally step out of it. When I was doing that, I could feel the shifts in my spine and in my energy, in my heart, and my breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a belief, I would imagine it's just like a different, same kind of process.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing. Low key, very smooth, people. If you've never experienced it, it's low key, it's smooth, it's non-threatening. You always feel in control. You have the choice. And I would say, in my experience, the first time I do this, I would say that it's like anything else. The depth at which you do it with a straight face within yourself is the depth at which you release.
Mm-hmm. And for me, my experience was, it's like you're taking me for a ride. You're guiding me on this journey, but it just feels safe to go on the journey and just let go of these things that were attached to you as you're going along there. And yeah, I really enjoyed that process.
Yeah. A thing that people tend to love is the growing back up into themselves. Whenever I guide them in the past, the growing back up, people seem to love it. Like it changes their posture a lot of times.
Yeah. I enjoyed that, but you surprised me, because you're like, because I got, hey, I'm back to the present. Then you're like, let's go future. I'm like, wait, we get to go future? All right. Let's do this.
Glorious.
All right.
Thanks for having me. This was great. If I think of anyone else who would be a great guest, can I send them your way?
Absolutely. Thank you
Great.
so much for being on the show. This has been amazing. And we're going to head out now. So yeah, catch Sylvain on his, go to his contact information, check him out. And I'm sure I'm going to be seeing you at future events so we can hang out some more.
Nice. Thanks.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. We are heading